Hello guys, my name is Khanpeki, and welcome to my brand new video for Pokken Tournament. This time, a tier list video. Now I know what you're thinking, it's way too early to make a tier list, Khanpeki. Are you an idiot? Well, I guess I am, because I'm going to. But trust me, it's just for fun. Simply for fun. I really like talking about tier lists and discussing why characters should be where they are on a tier list. I just find that fun and interesting, and I want to see what you guys think too. So talk about it in the comments and tell me why I'm really stupid and why your character should be way higher on the tier list than I put it. I know a lot about some characters and not so much about others. So for those characters, if you'd like to enlighten me about them and where they should be on a tier list, then go for it. I'd love to hear it. Now, I know it is far too early for a good and accurate tier list to be made, but again, this is purely for fun. It will be based off of my opinions and experiences in the game, and I just want to talk to you guys about tier lists because I find it fun. So here, without further ado, is my early game tier list for Pokken Tournament. S tier. Alright, first let's talk about the best character in the game, in my opinion. It has to be Mewtwo. He's really just kinda dumb in this game, I swear, he's so good. All of his attacks do a lot of damage. He has really great frame data, in other words, his moves come out fast and they end quickly so that he can get moving with another attack. His homing attack is kinda stupid. Like, it moves across the stage really fast, the attack itself comes out fast, it acts as an anti-air as well, so you can't run away by jumping. Oh, it's so hard to avoid, I swear. I also made a video about that, by the way, so maybe, hint, you can watch that if you want. His counter's really good, it hits on both sides of him and all around him, so that even if you go over him, you're still gonna get hit by him. He has cancels out of some of his combos. I see in ranked sometimes they'll just do a 2-hit combo, and if you block it every single time, they will stop and grab you, which gets predictable, but a good Mewtwo won't do that. A good Mewtwo won't be as predictable, and they will still hit you out of it. Mewtwo has Barrier, which obviously can be mixed up into pretty much anything. It's kinda silly as well, like he has so many options. And for that, and the other reasons I said, I think Mewtwo has gotta be the best character in the game, if not close. He's definitely an S rank. Following up Mewtwo in S rank has gotta be Shadow Mewtwo. I know. Now, the reason Shadow Mewtwo is behind Mewtwo is that while I do think Shadow Mewtwo in general is a better character, I think his low health pool and the fact that many of his attacks actually take health away from him are just slightly too big of a drawback for him to actually be better than Mewtwo. But again, he should be the second best character because a really good player will know what moves will take health away and will avoid using them whenever necessary, but will use them when it is a good time to use so. So a really smart player should take Shadow Mewtwo and just conquer with him. Seriously, because Shadow Mewtwo can be so strong. He has one of the best field phases with just mashing the Y button in the air. The Shadow Ball into the Thunderbolt attack is just kinda stupid. Like, it's so hard to get around that attack. It's dumb, like counterattack, dash canceling, everything is just really hard around that attack. So he's got one of the best field phases in the game. He can outzone any non-zoner really easily, and it's just crazy. Other than that, he's this high on the list mostly for the same reasons as Mewtwo, but instead of barrier mix-ups, he has Miracle Eye mix-ups, and some of his attacks are slightly different, but they're still strong and they still have great frame data, and that is why I believe Shadow Mewtwo to be the second best character in the game. It feels weird having put this Pokemon in this spot, this high up on the list, but they've been doing so well at DreamHack and at other tournaments, and everybody knows how strong this Pokemon is, so the third best Pokemon in this game, in S rank, is Suicune for me. I know it's weird, but like Suicune is so strong. Like Suicune is such a good zoner. And he's not bad up close either. Like he can zone, and then if someone gets up close to him, he still can fight toe-to-toe with pretty much every Pokemon at close range. And that is why Suicune's so good. Like his frame data is pretty decent up close. He's got great zoning tools. His Ice Wall completely stops approaches, and from any Pokemon that can't go through the Ice Wall with any moves will have huge trouble with it. Suicune can just rely on it. Mirror Coat can completely nullify certain projectiles and make them incredibly risky to use. Suicune has so many tools to work against the other Pokemon in the game and so many options that he can pull out. So many moves that he can spam, obviously, too. So, for these reasons, Suicune's really good in this game. Being able to poke from far away and doing lots of damage there, and then still being able to fight close up, is what puts Suicune at the number 3 spot in S rank in my tier list, combined with his amazing tournament results. And in the last spot of S rank or S tier for me, you might accuse me for having bias for my main here, but I truly do believe that Sceptile is this good. Sceptile is the 4th best character in the game for me, in my opinion. He can cancel out of so many moves, and he has traps and setups and Leaf Blade, which is fantastic. He just has so many options to cover everything. So whenever an enemy Pokemon is down, most don't have the ability to do much, but Sceptile can just lay some traps down at your feet, and then he has an advantage every time you wake up, which is insanely useful. He can dip in and out of everything. He can start up all of his combo starters and then just dash away as if he weren't there, and then you whiff your attack and Sceptile punishes you again. He can cancel out of his command grab, which is something that Chandelure doesn't even have. He can cancel out of growth. He can cancel out of bullet seed and then do like a melee attack or something. It's so dumb what Sceptile can do. He's so fast and he's pretty powerful. It's hard to do his combos, but once you get them down, they're really not hard anymore. And you can do crazy damage with him too. As we saw from DreamHack, one Sceptile player did really, really well. I don't want to spoil exactly how well he did, but you should watch it. And because of that, and because of what I've said, how he can cancel everything, and the mix-ups are insane, and his traps make him have an advantage a lot of the time, his field phase isn't that great, and I do believe the characters above him in the tier list are certainly better than him. With more power, sometimes faster moves, and better counters and other such things like that, great grabs. I do believe Sceptile, though, does deserve a spot at the bottom of S tier. A tier. The first spot in A tier for me is Pikachu. Pikachu is really good at this game, and he's not just good at one thing, he's good at everything. Pikachu can take any situation and make something good out of himself for it. He's got cancels out of his Thunder for mix-ups, his grab is good, his Nuzzle is good, his counter is good, his counterattack dash cancel is good. Everything about Pikachu is good. He has, seriously, like no weak point in his game, except for what you might consider his burst attack, which is pretty weak, but it still hits pretty easily. And Pikachu does enough damage himself that it doesn't really matter. Like, Pikachu is just so good at everything, and that's why I consider him this good. Why he's at the top of A rank is, well, I don't think he's super exceptional at anything. I don't think he's terrible at anything either. I think he can handle any situation you put him in, so long as you're a good player. And that is why Pikachu deserves this spot at the top of A rank. In A rank, behind Pikachu, has to be Lucario for me. Lucario is another character like Pikachu that's good at everything, but I find him to be a little slower because Pikachu's just stupid fast. He's like a speed character. But Lucario does have some moves that are really fast. Bone Rush comes out really fast and has great range. Obviously, extreme speed. It's a little speedy sometimes, you know, it's pretty good. He has a decent projectile. His Aura Sphere has many ways it can be used. It has a lot of utility to it. I feel like Lucario is the kind of character that it really depends on the skill of the user as to how well they're going to do. Lucario has like no gimmicks. It's all just skill. You do well, you do well, you do poorly, you're going to do poorly. That's just how it is. He's really good at punishing. Some of his moves, Cough, Force Palm, Cough, do really stupid damage sometimes. And it really hurts to get hit by such a move. Lastly though, his Mega Evolution is crazy good. Like stupid good. Second only to Mega Gengar. His Mega Evolution lets him do new combos that he doesn't have available in his normal move. And if a player can memorize the differences between Mega Lucario and normal Lucario and use those moves when it's most optimal, Lucario is going to be really, really good when people really get used to him and are able to utilize his normal set and his Mega Lucario set as well, and I think that's going to be really scary. For these reasons, I think Lucario has to be an A rank. And to round up the rest of A tier, I have Chandelure. Chandelure is pretty good in this game, but he has the one glaring weakness of having nothing up close, except for one move in Overheat. I want to say Chandelure is the best pure zoner in the game, without a doubt. I don't think anybody will argue with me there. It's so hard to get up to Chandelure. It's really, really hard. All of his Pokemon moves being able to pierce counters makes it really hard to counter attack dash cancel. And besides that, he does enough shield damage that it's difficult to just walk up and shield over and over again as well. Chandelure is able to mix up his projectiles, shoot a couple Ys, and then shoot a laser beam, and then shoot another laser beam, and then jump in the air and shoot another laser beam, and then swing around and shoot another laser beam, and you never know when he's going to drop down and do another laser beam, or jump up and do a laser beam, or an aerial laser beam, or a couple shadow ball thingies. I don't know. He has a good number of mix-ups with his projectiles, which is great for him. He has a great anti-air, which lingers for a while and completely prevents aerial approaches if the Chandelure sees you coming, so you cannot be obvious approaching Chandelure, or you will get punished pretty hard. And as I said, Chandelure has Overheat, which is fantastic, and it does stupid damage, and it has armor, which protects Chandelure as he uses it. But the best thing about it is that the opponent has to play around it. The opponent has to bait it out or risk getting hit by it when they attack Chandelure. Chandelure has this one all-powerful tool that it can use against its opponent for mind games all the time. It's like a burst mode. People play around it, like, because they know you're going to use your burst attack eventually. It's like that. People know you're going to use Overheat when they get close, so they have to play around it and be careful. That is the most dangerous part of Overheat. Unfortunately, though, Overheat is the only great close quarters tool Chandelure has, which, I mean, as it should be, Chandelure is pretty horrible up close since Chandelure is so great from far away. I am scared though for Chandelure, and his tier might fall in the future because as people get better, they'll be able to weave through Chandelure's projectiles more easily, and this may nullify the best part of his game. But for now though, I do believe that he should be an A tier, but on the bottom part of it. B tier. And now for B tier. My B tier is made up of good characters. They are viable, but they are noticeably weaker than the characters in the A and S tiers. They're still good, but you can tell that there's a slight difference, or at least I can. This is how I feel about the game, between the power levels of the characters in the B and the A and S tiers. Anyway, the first character, the best in B tier in my opinion, is Pikachu Libre. Pikachu Libre is scary, alright? His grabs are scary because every time he gets a grab, he gets buffed, as you probably know. And that makes countering and blocking very risky for the opposing player, which are two very important game mechanics, obviously. Pikachu Libre has very strong attacks and grabs, so obviously he's scary that way, you know? He just does a lot of power. He has a lot of power behind his moves. But Pikachu Libre is slower than Pikachu, and that hurts her game a lot. She has fewer mix-ups than Pikachu and the characters above her in the tier. She has fewer options. She's just not able to do as much. And that's why I feel like she doesn't quite deserve to be out of B tier. I feel like she has to be in B tier. She's still good at a lot of things, but not as good as the characters above her. And that's why I'm going to put her here. Next up in my list is Weavile. So Weavile is obviously really fast, which gives Weavile the ability to punish even the shortest amount of lag in between an opponent's moves, which is really, really powerful. An opponent has to be very safe playing against Weavile, or they will get punished for anything and everything, which makes Weavile very scary. And also, his quickness gives the opponent less time to think in between moves. He's got a good move in Field Phase, which is his Ice Traps. It limits the opponent's options and makes it much harder to run away from Weavile, which is kind of what you want to do in Field Phase. Weavile has low damage in his individual hits, but he has really long combos which do lots of damage, so she can put out a decent amount of damage even though she is a weak speed character. However, the negatives are her grabs are really weak. So blocking and countering is safe because you don't really have to worry. It's like, okay, whatever, Weavile grabbed me. Okay, I don't really care. And it's the same for his burst attack. If they use their burst attack, it's just okay, whatever. I'll just use mine and do 3 times as much damage. No problem. So blocking is really strong against Weavile, which I think is a huge bad point to Weavile, as it's a whole point of the game. It's one of the rock, paper, scissors aspects. Blocking and countering become really safe, so you can counterattack dash cancel around Weavile all day long, and Weavile will only get small punishes for it. This is why I believe Weavile is in B tier. Now, I'm not sure about this decision. Weavile might be better than Pikachu Libre. Weavile might even be in A tier, but I'm really not sure about this one. So if you guys think differently, tell me in the comments, because I'm not sure about Weavile. Weavile's weird. She can do damage and she's really fast, but blocking and countering are so good against her that it's like there's like no risk to doing it, really. Anyway, that's why I put her in B tier in my list. And rounding up the bottom of B tier, I have Gengar. Gengar is a weird character, alright? And he's made to be that way. Gengar has stupid mix-ups, like mix-ups everywhere in like every single one of his combos. It's crazy. He has Hypnosis into Grab, which I think is the actually most stupid combo I've ever seen in a fighting game ever. I absolutely hate getting hit by it, or it makes me mad sometimes. But yeah, he has mix-ups everywhere, and he's a tricky character, which he's supposed to be. But I think even when he hits you with a mix-up, it doesn't do that much damage, and he has such a low health total that if you were to hit him with one combo and he hits you with 3, it's about equal, which is unfortunate for Gengar players. Of course, Gengar has Burst Mode, which makes him the best character in the game without a doubt. That Mega Gengar is stupid in competitive Pokemon and in Pokken. It's just really dumb. Like, if a Gengar goes Burst Mode, you kind of just hide in a corner and wait until you're dead, basically. And save your Burst Mode for next round when you have a chance to win, because Mega Gengar just wins every round. But the thing is, normal Gengar isn't really good enough to make up for how good Mega Gengar is. Mega Gengar will win a round, but then normal Gengar will lose 2 rounds, and the Gengar player loses. And that's just how it is, because Mega Gengar takes so long to recharge. I feel like normal Gengar's not a good enough character at all. Like, I think Mega Gengar might be the worst character in the game, almost. Maybe not quite that bad, but like, I don't know. Burst Mode makes him the character that he is. Burst Mode is the reason why he's in B tier, and if it wasn't for that, I think he'd definitely be much lower on this list. But for now, that's why I have him in B tier. C tier. And now we're down to C tier. These characters are still good, but you might want a secondary for some of their glaring weaknesses that some of them do have. But I urge you that these characters are still good. Don't give up on them. I want you to believe in them. At the top of C tier is Garchomp. So Garchomp obviously has a lot of power. I mean, have you heard him? Have you seen him? He's kind of crazy. He does lots of damage. It's a bit crazy. He also can cancel out of some of his moves, and he has mix-ups with Dig, which makes him really scary and really good. He has a command grab, which hurts a lot, and I hate getting hit by it because it looks like he's charging up an attack, but I always get hit by the grab because I never see it coming. But that's all Garchomp has. He has power, he has a command grab, and he has some cancels, but not really great cancels, because they still leave him in lag, which is not what you want cancels to do. So I feel like Garchomp can become predictable, and a Garchomp player will get trapped into the same moves over and over again. And then a good player would be able to counter that and beat the Garchomp fairly easily, which is why I think Garchomp is in C tier. Of course, a great player can take Garchomp way further than I'm saying right now, but I'm basing it off of the level of the character rather than the skill player. The player's skill, sorry. Up next, behind Garchomp, we have Machamp. And Machamp is the best character in the game up close. But he's not so good at medium range or long range. Machamp is like the opposite of Chandelure. Except with Chandelure, it's hard to get close to Chandelure. But with Machamp, it's fairly easy to get away from Machamp, which makes Machamp much, much weaker. Machamp is so strong up close, and he has some moves that are good to close the gap, like Cross Chop. But he doesn't have many, so it's very easy for an opposing player to watch out for moves like Cross Chop and just counter it and wait for it or dodge it, which makes Machamp fairly weak in this game. Of course, he only needs like 3 hits to kill you, which makes Machamp decent again and why he is where he is. But I feel like a really, really good player, one that makes very, very few mistakes, won't make enough mistakes for a Machamp player to ever win. Because playing against a Machamp is just playing against yourself. Because it is up to you to make the mistake to let the Machamp get close enough and to lose, more so than it is up to the Machamp to get close to you. Of course, that's just my opinion, but I feel like that is what makes Machamp weak in this game and why he is here in C tier. Next up is a character I know very little about, if I'm going to be honest, but I have Braixen here in the tier list. Braixen is a weird character. Braixen is okay up close and okay far away, but not great at either. Braixen's projectiles are good against characters that have no projectiles, but Braixen's projectiles are beat by all the zoners in the game, like Suicune and Gardevoir and Chandelure, easily. Those characters outzone Braixen super easily, but when Braixen gets close, she's not even that great up close to punish them. Her frame data is not fantastic, though she has some fast moves. Her burst mode isn't very scary, and it doesn't do too much damage. What she has is like a really fast broom attack move, which is really cool. I like the whole aesthetic behind it, but that doesn't make her a good character. I feel like Braixen's just not scary at any point in the game. It's always just like, okay, Braixen, what's Braixen gonna do? It's not like Machamp where, oh, he's close, I'm screwed, what am I gonna do? Or Chandelure, well, I'm far away, I might die, I'm gonna lose. Braixen is like, well, whatever. I can do anything at this point. I'll counterattack dash cancel through the projectiles, or I'll just shield, or I'll get up close, and if I'm Machamp, then I'll just punch her in the face, and it's just... I feel like Braixen's never scary. Long range, medium range, or short range. Braixen's okay at everything, and a good player would be able to take her far at any range in the game, but another good player would be able to counter that just as well, and that makes Braixen weak for me, and that's why she is this low in the tier list in C rank. And now Blaziken. Blaziken for me has got to be one of the most fun characters in the game. Every time I pick that character up, I just have a ball. It's great. I love playing Blaziken, but I don't think Blaziken's that good. Obviously, Blaziken's good up close, but not great. Like, Blaziken's good. You know, he'll beat most characters up close pretty decidedly, alright? But like, he'll lose to Machamp, as every other character will. And he's really bad far away too. Like, he has very few projectiles, and they're okay-ish, but they'll lose to every other projectile in the game, really. Blaziken can be fast, especially after he uses burst mode and gets his speed boost bonus there. But I feel like Blaziken is a very basic character, and a really good player will take them far, as I've said with pretty much every character in this list. But Blaziken has no really scary tools. His EX moves are really scary because they can pierce counters, they can do a lot of damage, but they also hurt Blaziken in return, which makes shielding them fairly safe and nice because Blaziken's grab is really weak. It's like Weavile, where it's like, okay, well, Blaziken grabbed me, so what? It did hardly no damage. It's like, okay. So I should just shield all the time against Blaziken, because Blaziken's grab is so weak. Blaziken's attacks do stupid damage sometimes. But for these reasons, I feel like Blaziken can't be too much higher up in the tier list. I've seen many people on Reddit and on Facebook and Twitter saying stuff like, Blaziken's like the worst character in the game. I don't believe that. I believe Blaziken can be pretty bad, but I believe Blaziken is good enough to where a good player, no matter what, will be able to take Blaziken and beat probably any other character in the game if the player is good enough. Which I think makes it so that Blaziken cannot possibly be the worst character in the game. Blaziken has the options and the tools. They're just really hard to use sometimes. And if punished, can be punished really hard. And that is why Blaziken is here in C tier, below Braixen. There aren't too many characters left to put on this list, but the next one is going to be Gardevoir. I feel like Gardevoir realistically isn't that bad of a character, and it hurts me to put her this low on the list. But at the same time, if you choose Gardevoir, are you choosing Gardevoir because she's good? Because if so, why wouldn't you just pick Suicune or Chandelure? Because Gardevoir is a zoner, but I feel like it's almost objective at this point that Chandelure and Suicune are just better at the same job. So why pick Gardevoir? It's hard, because like, you want to pick Gardevoir. Like, she's cute and stuff in the game. Like, I love her personality in game, it's great. But she's just weak at her job. And up close, she's really, really bad. She has like the worst homing attack in the game, which is bad. And it just hurts me to put her this low, because I don't think she's realistically that bad of a character, but I don't think there's any reason to choose her if you want to win either. And that's why I unfortunately have to put her this low on the list, close to the worst character in the game. And next up, the character that I believe has to be the worst in the entire game, even though I still consider this character to be good, a powerhouse even, scary at all times in the game, and powerful in field phase and dual phase. This game is really well balanced, and it really, really, really hurts me to put Charizard as the worst character in the game. Now this one is going to have some controversy. I'm sure a lot of you disagree with me on this one, but I've played lots of Charizards, and a lot of the time it's not too hard to read them. It's not too hard to know what they're going to do. Charizard has power and he has range, but his frame data is not great, and it's just really easy. That's all Charizard player I've found. Charizard has strong moves, sure. Fire Punch is great. Seismic Toss is great as well. Flare Blitz is great as well. But it's just easy to stop them. It's easy to play against them. Like, you see a Charizard walk towards you, you jump away, probably, unless you're Machamp. And then you just fight at range a lot of time. Like, it's super easy to zone Charizard. Poor Charizard, even against Gardevoir, would have so much trouble, especially against Gardevoir. And Suicune and Chandelure, Charizard has so much trouble, and I feel like Charizard's so weak against zoners that it's almost necessary that you grab a secondary if you want to main Charizard. Just a secondary for zoners alone, which makes him really weak, because I feel like you don't really have to do that with any other characters in the game, except for maybe Machamp. But Machamp is so scary up close that you can kill him in like 2 to 3 hits. Charizard takes 4 to 5 hits, which is a big deal. You have to take way more hits together. Charizard's burst mode is scary. He does a lot more damage. He turns black and blue, which is awesome looking. But I don't think it's scary enough to warrant him being as slow and as weak as he is in game. And it hurts me a lot to say it, but on the bottom of my tier list has to be Charizard. Tell me that I'm wrong, guys, because I want to hear it. I really do. I don't want Charizard to be the worst in the game. But then again, I don't really want any of these characters to be the worst in the game, so. And that is it for my tier list today, guys. Remember, this tier list is made up purely of my opinions, and my opinions only. I am not correct. There is no fact that Charizard is the worst in the game, or that Mewtwo is the best, or any of the other characters are where they are. I'm not saying that. I just wanted to make this video to talk about tier lists with you guys, because I think it's really fun to speculate and to calculate and to see just how good these characters are. And over time, we'll see as the meta progresses and as we get patches and new players pick up characters that are seemingly weak and show us how good they truly are. We'll see how the tier lists really advance over time, and how maybe I'll make another video in like a year's time and we'll see how much it's changed from today. Maybe I'll look like a real big idiot after today. I wouldn't be surprised. Thanks for watching. Please leave a comment down below. Tell me how stupid I am and why Charizard is the best in the game, or Braixen is amazing and Gardevoir is actually better than Suicune and Chandelure put together. I'd love to hear what you have to say and talk with you about it in the comments. That's really what this video is made for. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and if you agree, and if you disagree, because most of you probably really, really disagree with this list. And I hope you guys have a great day.